You go to the store, you don't really see a Sunfish tape on oranges. And what happens? Tropicana, there's Fruit Growers Association in Florida, Fruit Growers Association in Arizona and Texas. Now what happens? They're basically all the same. Okay. They all charge higher prices. Everybody's price is higher. Does that make sense? But Sunkist was the first. They were one of the first folks to say, we can convince you to pay more money. Okay? Any other products that were competitive but now aren't? Besides Sunkist. Who does advertise?
Maybe like Crest.
Yeah, what does the toothpaste industry do? In order to convince you they're different, they
added all those anti-cavity.
Anti-cavity, whitening,
The whitening,
Flavor?
enamel strength,
enamel.
sensitivity.
So now they have what? Yeah. It used to be Crest would say, Crest, how did Crest initially differentiate itself from every other toothpaste? But before, just before that. Would they have to convince the public that Crest was a better buy?
That's why.
Before. Dentist recommended. Dentists will recommend that what? You should buy Crest because it's better for your teeth, etc. Does that make sense? Other people go, wait, we have fluoride too, we're just as good. So now what do? We had a product that was highly competitive. Toothpaste was toothpaste. And now it's what? 400 varieties, pretty much. Does that make sense? Okay. So how much advertising do these people do? Generally not very much. Unless you're willing to do what? You're convinced, you can convince the public that these products are indeed different. Does that make sense? You might be able to do it, might not. Just depends. Sunkist was able to do it. Great advertising campaign. Cool name. Does that make sense? Okay. So how much advertising? Would perfect competition do? Almost none. What about monopolistic competition?
Yes.
Substantial. Okay. That to keep you convinced that my product is different than everybody else's. Right? Coke and Pepsi, how much do they advertise? Honda versus Toyota. This group, and this group, all three of these, substantial. Almost all the advertising, magazines, newspapers, TV, online, etc., are these three groups. To some extent. The only other people that will advertise are co-ops. Who's the most recent agricultural group to advertise? Great advertising campaign. They hire dairy farmers. Drink milk. The white mustache. He's the word.
That and other cheese ones.
Yeah, California brown.
Yeah.
Yep. So then now you're saying, instead of individually, let's try to just get people to buy the product. Dairy, everyone see the dairy? Everyone drink and eat dairy products? Do you only drink dairy products that were through that dairy co-op that advertised? No. They're all the same. But you might drink more dairy, eat more dairy, right? Because of the advertising. So what you have to worry about here is that if I advertise, you might spend the money on someone else without their having advertised. Does that make sense? Okay. Monopoly? Yeah. Some. just want to make sure the consumer knows you're still around. Right? Xcel Energy occasionally will just put an advertisement out, put it in magazines or online. You know, we're here to serve you. Stop bitching. Right? Literally, that's what they're for. Yeah, we know your energy prices are going up 3 or 4 times what they were from last year in the next 12 months, but we're doing the best we can. So don't write your legislation. Okay? Don't bother the government. So they will do some form of advertising. Okay. With regard to markets, what market in the real world fits into these categories? Well, as we mentioned, the only thing that really is perfect competition are some agricultural markets. You know, wheat, corn, that type of thing. They're pretty much identical. I mean, anybody eat Doritos or corn chips? Do you check to see what state the corn was raised? Come on.
But that's also like business to business. What about
Well, a farmer grows corn. Frito-Lay buys 90% of the corn grown in West Texas. Right? And the people in West Texas say our corn's better than, you know, North Dakota corn. Do you care? No. Right? So that the product is pretty much identical. When it gets to the consumer, you don't pay any attention where the corn's from. Okay? It's possible an ear corn might be different. There's different types of corn. Okay? But those are sort of the only possible outcomes of perfect competition. Most of the time, we look at perfect competition as a benchmark. Here's what the market would be if it had all these characteristics. Okay? Most policy and regulation of business regulates business to try and get to this outcome. Because this outcome, we argue, is sort of a pretty good outcome, even though the market exists. Okay? So we talk about market failure. Market failure occurs when the market doesn't come up with this outcome. Okay? Even though it doesn't exist. Monopolistic competition. The types of industries that we would classify as monopolistic competition: retail, restaurants. How many restaurants are in the Denver metro area? Thousands? How many Mexican restaurants are there in the Denver metro area? Thousands?
More than there are in Minnesota.
Right? More, that's true. More than there are in Ohio. Retail outlets. Are all Mexican restaurants the same? No, the food's a little different. What about Chinese? All Chinese restaurants identical? Food's similar, but it's not quite the same. So retail outlets. Gas stations. Are all gas stations the same? Prices are close, but one major difference. Sometimes a store with it, but location.
Or, yeah, or a car wash.
They have a car wash, right? They have a grocery nearby, right? And so retail stores, they're sort of the same. How far will you drive to go to a Conoco that has a gas station? Or gas station that has a grocery store with it? Drive another 20 miles? No. They're different, but they're not identical because, one, they have different locations. They have slightly different prices based upon location. They have slightly different prices based upon what? Whether there's a grocery store with it, etc. So retail are basically monopolistic competitive. There's hundreds and hundreds of these places. And the prices are pretty close. If the prices are identical, there's differences because of location. I can buy Gatorade when I get some gas. Okay. Oligopoly and duopoly. Oh, one other thing with retail. Monopolistic competition. light manufacturing. Light manufacturing meaning I'm producing products that don't require substantial capital investment. Okay. That produce products that don't require an incredible amount of processing or stages of processing that are fairly easy to produce. Okay. Oligopoly and duopoly generally is heavy industry. Auto industry, steel, tractors, those types of things. Right? Heavy industry. Monopoly, mostly whoever gives them a license to sell. Utility companies, energy firms in general. Okay. Airlines fit somewhere in between. So there's not really a discrete break that says, well, this is oligopoly and this is monopolistic competition. It's sort of a gray area. There's a bunch of products or industries that sort of fit somewhere in between. There's something, there are characteristics of both. But for the most part, you could say almost all retail and light manufacturing, with almost no exceptions, are monopolistically competitive, or maybe they have 100 firms instead of 2 or 3 or 4, and not quite 400 or 500 or 1,000 firms. They're somewhere in between. Okay. Markets. Okay. Any questions? Okay. Well, let's take